It's the book club for kids.
It's a book club for kids.
It's the book club for kids.
It's the book club for kids podcast.
Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. This week, our book is The Tiger Rising by Kate DiCamillo. In the book, we get to meet two very special friends, Rob and a girl named after a famous chapel in Rome.
"What's your name?" The girl turned and looked at them. She had a sharp nose and a sharp chin and black eyes. "Sistine," she said. "Sistine?" hooted Billy. "What kind of stupid name is that?"
That's our celebrity reader, veteran TV political journalist Dave Bryan. Our readers from Maury Elementary School in Washington, D.C. talk about how they handle emotional situations in their own lives.
I try to keep anything mean inside my head without saying it out loud because I know I'm going to get in trouble and I may lose my friends.
And writer Kate DiCamillo makes a literary confession. She's not a plotter, she's a pantser.
I'm not one of those people who lays everything out and decides what I'm going to do.
This is the Book Club for Kids, the show where kids talk about books. We'll tell you how you can be on the show a little later on, but first, let's meet our readers, Khalees, Anaya, Kevin, and Reed. So what is The Tiger Rising about, you guys?
It's about this boy that Rob. So the story takes place in Florida, and there's this girl, Sistine, and mostly in the story it's about Sistine and Rob fighting, arguing about if they should let this tiger in a cage go or let it in.
The owner of the hotel, the Kentucky Star, wants to keep the tiger in the cage and told Rob, the main character, to keep the tiger in the cage and not to tell anyone about it.
One of the characters is Sistine's mom, and Sistine's mom, she tries to give Sistine whatever she wants because she wants Sistine to stay with her because she doesn't want Sistine to leave her.
Sistine's mom dresses Sistine all girly up in dresses, in pink fluffy dresses, and then Sistine actually likes to wear calm clothes and not want to look all dressy up like she's sassy or the boss, if anything.
The main character, Rob, is a child who gets bullied a lot by two kids. He also has a rash that he's worried about on his leg that makes the two kids bully him.
And also, Rob's principal tells him that he can keep some days off because other parents think it's contagious.
And him and his father live in the motel. So he's really going through a lot. And then he has to deal with the tiger and Sistine pressuring him to let the tiger out of the cage.
He doesn't really cry a lot. Well, only once, but that was when his mother died.
Rob is the kind of person that likes keeping things in. Exactly like the suitcase that he has, like the invisible suitcase. He likes keeping all his feelings in there. And it's like he won't unlock it because he doesn't want to let everybody know his feelings and how he's feeling.
And also, Rob doesn't want nobody to know Rob's mother died. And now, since that, he has a suitcase and he keeps all his feelings in it, and he keeps the tiger on top of the suitcase.
We think that the tiger is a symbol for Rob of empowerment, strength, and peace. Rob isn't the type to pick a fight, but he won't finish one either. He's a calm person who just goes with how things are going.
Rob is like the tiger because it's like he's being not technically kept in a cage, but he's keeping his feelings in the cage. So it's like if he maybe releases the tiger, then he'll somehow release his feelings. But if he doesn't release the tiger, then his feelings is just going to stay in the suitcase and it's just going to be locked in there.
And also, the tiger shows grace, power, and strength, and Rob is just like the tiger, so they both like have something in common.
Well, let's hear that scene on the school bus where Rob first meets Sistine. Our celebrity reader is veteran political reporter Dave Bryan.
Nobody wore pink lacy dresses to school. Nobody. Even Rob knew that. He held his breath as he watched the girl walk down the aisle of the bus. Here was somebody even stranger than he was. He was sure. "Hey," Norton called, "this is a school bus." "I know it," the girl said. Her voice was gravelly and deep, and the words sounded clipped and strange, like she was stamping each one of them out with a cookie cutter. "You're all dressed up to go to a party," Billy said. "This ain't the party bus." He elbowed Rob in the ribs. "Ha!" Norton laughed. He gave Rob a friendly thud on the head. The girl stood in the center of the aisle, swaying with the movement of the bus. She stared at them. "It's not my fault you don't have good clothes," she said finally. She sat down and put her back to them. "Hey," said Norton, "we're sorry. We didn't mean nothing." "Hey," he said again, "what's your name?" The girl turned and looked at them. She had a sharp nose and a sharp chin and black eyes. "Sistine," she said. "Sistine?" hooted Billy. "What kind of stupid name is that?" "Like the chapel," she said, slowly making each word clear and strong. Rob stared at her, amazed. "What are you looking at?" she said to him. Rob shook his head. "Yeah," said Norton. He cuffed Rob on the ear. "What are you staring at, disease boy? Come on," he said to Billy. And together they swaggered up the aisle of the bus and sat in the seat behind the new girl. They whispered things to her, but Rob couldn't hear what they were saying. He thought about the Sistine Chapel. He had seen a picture of it in a big art book that Mrs. Dupree kept on a small shelf behind her desk in the library. The pages of the book were slick and shiny, and each picture made Rob feel cool and sweet inside, like a drink of water on a hot day. Mrs. Dupree let Rob look at the book because he was quiet and good in the library. It was her reward to him. In the book, the picture from the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel showed God reaching out and touching Adam. It was like they were playing a game of tag, like God was making Adam it. It was a beautiful picture. Rob looked out the window at the gray rain, the gray sky, and the gray highway. He thought about the tiger. He thought about God and Adam. And he thought about Sistine. He did not think about the rash. He did not think about his mother. And he did not think about Norton and Billy Threemonger. He kept the suitcase closed.
So we say this takes place in Florida. How does the author describe this place?
At the beginning of the book, it's like in Lister, Florida. It's very like murky and foggy and like more like a swampish area, like with lots of fog.
How does that fog help the story?
Rob is all down, and he doesn't really shows that he's excited about anything, and the fog is just like it because like the fog shows scariness.
So who was your favorite character?
I like Sistine because he sort of represents like being herself. She also represents like strength because like when she first got to the school, she was getting bullied and she just had to push through all of the bullying. She had to like fight them off and like kind of like make them stop bullying her.
Mine is Sistine because Sistine, she represents being herself, and she lives happily ever after.
I think differently. And my favorite character in the book is actually the tiger itself, not just because I love animals. It's also because like the tiger is like the main thing in the story, and it's like his second main character.
My two are Rob's dad and Sistine's mom.
That's an unusual choice for favorite characters. Tell me why those two characters you like the best.
Because they're both struggling with something. Rob's dad is struggling with a death, and Sistine's mom is struggling with her husband leaving her.
So it seems like all the characters in this book do things to handle their feelings, handle their emotions.
Yeah.
How do you guys do that?
Well, how I do that is that I tell the teacher if I can't handle what's going on, or if not, I just leave it alone and I ignore it.
I don't really argue too much. In fact, I don't really argue with anyone at school because I try to keep anything mean inside my head without saying it out loud because I know I'm going to get in trouble and I may lose my friends.
It depends what situation it is. If it's like a bullying situation, I will go find the teacher or the assistant principal. And if it's just a regular problem, I'll go to my friends, and they usually help me out.
Well, I speak my mind, and also if it's a situation where I can't speak my mind because I know I'm going to get in trouble, I just go straight to a teacher to tell them what happened.
Do you guys have some questions for our Newbery Award-winning writer, Kate DiCamillo?
Why did you pick a tiger as the animal? I mean, you could have picked anything.
The way I write, I don't consciously decide things. It's kind of, I'm always kind of, I talk about it as like walking down a long, dark hallway and I can sense some light at the end of it. So I'm not one of those people who lays everything out and decides what I'm going to do. And I just didn't, the tiger showed up for me the same way it showed up for Rob. It's just like it was a surprise.
Is this based on a true story about your lifestyle?
The most autobiographical element of it is something that I didn't even realize that I was doing until the book was done, until I had finished it, and that's the eczema on Rob's legs. I had terrible eczema as a kid, and it's funny, you would think that I would be aware that I was kind of writing about my own experience, but I wasn't until I was done with the book. So that's the most autobiographical.
What's your favorite book?
Well, my favorite book is Home of the Brave because it talks about like a real life situation that happens, and also it shows how this one boy named Keck, how like he had to push through the times, like even though he lost his mother. And I like it because sometimes if you lose a person in your family, it helps you because it's like it helps you think of different ways that you can like do things to like try to find them.
Favorite book?
Smile, because it actually helps me because like Raina had to get braces and her teeth were crooked before she had to get braces, and that kind of is the same for me. And also Raina got bullied, and that's kind of like me because like people always ask me if am I getting braces because I have crooked teeth, and I really like that book because it's funny and it's a true story for me.
My favorite book is called Amulet. The first time I read it was in second grade because I really like science fiction. It's a lot of action. I like any books that I can see what's going on, like picture books. Well, not totally picture books, but where it shows like it's a picture of what's happening, and then it's a lot of drama and action.
Amulet is one of our Book Club for Kids episodes, and we will have a link to it in our show notes and at our website, bookclubforkids.org. What about you, Kate DiCamillo? Do you have a favorite book?
Charlotte's Web. I reread it every year, trying to figure out how he worked that magic. It's such a humane book and so full of humor and so full of love.
How about you, Dave Bryan? You got a favorite book?
I was growing up in the 1950s, a long time ago, a distant memory for most of us. It was a time when, as a boy growing up, everyone was really interested in cowboys and Indians and the frontier and the West, and that's what I was interested in, too. I thought it was exciting, and it was different from where I grew up, which was in the city of Baltimore on the East Coast. So I went to see a movie about Davy Crockett, and then I got a book about Davy Crockett, Walt Disney's Davy Crockett it was called, and Crockett was always known as the king of the wild frontier. My book was a little golden book. I was only about 4 years old at the time, but it was a book that I treasured, and I would read the book often, pretty much every night until I fell asleep. For me, he was bold and he was adventurous. Davy Crockett was my favorite. He was sort of my idol for a while, and I had a lot of fun with him. And I think I learned a lot, because at least the way he was portrayed in the book was always being a very righteous guy and a man who was always concerned about doing the right thing. I'm not sure whether that's historically true or not, but I took it to be true when I was 4 years old. And it was a book very close to my heart.
We'll have a list of everybody's favorite book at our website, bookclubforkids.org. And if you have a favorite book, you can be on the Book Club for Kids podcast too. Just have your teacher, parent, or librarian send us an email and we will send out all the information. The email is kitty@bookclubforkids.org. That's KITTY at bookclubforkids.org. This episode is funded in part by the D.C. Commission on the Arts and Humanities, an agency supported in part by the National Endowment for the Arts and by a grant from the Capitol Hill Community Foundation, building a stronger and more caring community where families can flourish and every resident can share in a better future. Thanks this week to Jonathan Jensen, who composed and performed our music, and to Emma Steinkellner, who designed our logo. And thanks to our writer, Kate DiCamillo, and our celebrity reader, Dave Bryan, from CBS Television Channel 2 in Los Angeles. And thanks to our readers at Maury Elementary, Khalees, Anaya, Kevin, and Rain, and their teacher, Linda Marks. We have a free newsletter for teachers, parents, and librarians full of free tips about how to turn kids into lifelong readers. You can sign up at our website, bookclubforkids.org. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even Pinterest. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks again for listening.